Living in Panama and Bocas del Toro, or mouths of the bull. When you live on Carneiro Island in Bocas del Toro, your means of transportation is a boat. Most of the time we use our own boat, but the water taxi is also very convenient for a quick trip for one person. There are many fun places to go to, and it's quite easy to get there by boat. You must just keep an eye on the weather, because a nice smooth ride in your boat can quickly become very difficult when the weather changes. One thing that you can sure of is that the weather changes back to normal within a couple of hours. What is also very nice for the sailing boat people is that they can anchor free of charge and close to Bocas Town. Sometimes the weather doesn't play along, and if it is cloudy for a few days, you must calculate the best option to charge the batteries on the boat. You can either burn diesel by starting the generator or go to the marina to hook up on the electricity. Sailing vessel Aventuras decided to charge batteries at Bocas Marina, and Carol and I used this opportunity to visit them with our Boston whaler that now has a name, Molly B. It was Julie Jorgensen who came up with the very appropriate name, Molly Brown, because a Boston whaler is unsinkable too. According to Wikipedia, Molly Brown helped others board lifeboats when the Titanic started to sink, but she was finally persuaded to abandon ship in lifeboat number 6. Molly was later called the unsinkable Molly Brown by authors because she helped in the ship's evacuation, taking an oar herself in her lifeboat and urging that the lifeboat go back and save more passengers. After our visit with Marius and Mireille and the 2 dogs Salty and Milo, we have a smooth ride back to our house on Carneiro Island. Bocas del Toro is in the northwestern province of Panama and is on the Caribbean coast and borders Costa Rica. The city of Bocas del Toro on Colón Island is the capital city of the province. To get to Bocas del Toro from Panama City, you can take a 45-minute flight from Marcos Gilbert Airport in Panama City to Bocas Town. Or you can take a 9-hour bus or car ride from Panama City to Almirante Port, followed by a ferry ride to Bocas Town in Isla Colón, and that will take about 1.5 hours. In Bocas, expect to find a relatively underdeveloped landscape and a friendly, laid-back vibe. The best way to describe Bocas Town is that it will remind you of a coastal town of 50 years ago. The people of Carneiro Island do not realize how lucky they are to have a person like Tony living on the island. He took it upon himself to keep Carneiro clean and to ensure that people can walk safely on the bridges and the paths. Here you can see Tony and volunteers building a bridge because the old one collapsed. What is also fascinating is that he uses driftwood and fallen trees for his projects. One of our favorite places on the water is the Aki Hoi restaurant on Sularte Island. And you must know you can only reach it by boat. It is easy to dock your boat in front of the restaurant. Aki Hoi is nice and clean, with lots of space to enjoy the view, the sun, the sea, and the food. The people who know Carol will know that she cannot sit still for a minute. She must always have a project, and the more challenging it is, the better. Here she is busy making screens to cover the windows of sailing vessel Aventura. To fly from Bocas Airport to Panama City takes less than an hour, but the contrast from the old world charm of Bocas to the modern Panama City is fascinating. At Bocas Airport, they must chase the dogs and the birds from the runway before takeoff or landing. And the school soccer field is next to the runway with no fencing in between. We saw students running on the tarmac to retrieve their soccer balls. In Panama City, with the many one-ways, it is the easiest to take an Uber to get to your destination. The night sky of Panama City shows how modern the city really is. On our way back, we decided to take the bus for the 445-kilometer ride from Panama City to David, because it gives us a better idea of what it looks like in the other parts of Panama. Here we cross the bridge of the Americas, connecting the North and South American land masses. On the bus, you must wear a mask and a face shield all the time. The roads from Panama City to David are mostly in a good condition. The bus company is very professional. From ticket sales to the maintenance of their buses, they do it well. They also know when to stop for a comfort break and something to eat and drink. Irene and Liesel, Carol's family from South Africa, live in Volcan, and they took us on a road trip to see all the beautiful places. Volcan got its name from Panama's only volcano, Volcan Baru. This is also where you find the highest mountain in Panama, over 3,400 meters high, and it is part of the Talamanca mountain range. Cerro Punta is named after the hilltop, which is the highest point of the village at 2,300 meters. Volcan is deemed the breadbasket of Panama due to its rich volcanic soil. They produce most of the country's vegetables, and they also grow the flowers enjoyed by all Panamanians. Volcan's year-round climate and its altitude allow many species of plants, trees, and flowers to flourish here. Las Lagunas de Volcan, the two lakes, are a 15-minute drive from the city of Volcan. The Las Lagunas de Volcan area is a good area for birding. After doing some shopping in David, we took a taxi over the mountains to Almirante. At Almirante, we took a water taxi back to Bocas del Toro. The water taxi ride is always at breakneck speeds, but luckily the drivers know the area and the conditions in which they can speed. Back at Carneiro Island, we found Cecilio busy repairing the pergola in front of our rented home, Casa Alegria, or the House of Happiness.